Bid you welcome John Cloud, Johnny Metal, the Metal Dad, coming to you from my music corner of the world. Welcome to another edition of Album Track Ranking, that little series where I've been going through the alphabet, looking at a different letter. And today's letter is brought to you by the letter V. And I couldn't think of a better album to talk about than this lovely piece of music right here. Van Halen, Fair Warning, their fourth album, released on April 29th, 1981. So it's uh, not, it started off kind of a slow burn with the fans, but a lot of fans have come to really love this album quite a lot. This would be my introduction to Van Halen. Um, I was starting to read about them in certain magazines, where I lived. I wasn't, I didn't really know what kind of stuff to look through and read. So I found, usually if it had like Kiss or AC/DC or something like that on the cover, I tended to gravitate to those since I was fans of those bands. And so it was like magazines like 16 and Rockline. Those were like the ones I was really reading a lot back in 1980, 81 and whatever. And and I saw about this band Van Halen. And I thought, this seems kind of interesting. So I put this album, this is not my original copy, by the way, but I put this album on my Christmas wish list in 1981. And believe it or not, I got it. I think this and um REO Speedwagon High Infidelity, I think was another. And there were a couple, I got a couple of odd ones that year, um but anyway, this was my introduction to Van Halen. I wasn't completely familiar with who Eddie was, who David Lee Roth was, or anything like that. I don't think I had heard "You Really Got Me" or "Everybody Wants Some," whatever the singles were at the time. So when I dropped the needle on this album, well, let's just do this. Let's just get into my ranking on this album. So yes, released April 29th, 1981. According to Wikipedia, it was recorded March and April of 1981. So they were able to get this baby pressed to vinyl and shipped out rather quickly. There wasn't a lot of waiting around. I don't know how true that is, but anyway, um, four singles would be released from this album. It did actually get up to number five on the Billboard charts. Um, so we got nine songs, and man, I'll tell you what, there's not a clunker on this one. Not, I mean, there's a few that maybe don't, I don't know. I never really totally got into, even as a kid, and even now, I'm not like huge fans of certain songs on this album, but they're very few and far between. So I'll just say that. So for me, the least the one track I probably go to least on this album, and this probably might anger a few people. Push comes to shove. Uh, you get a more laid back. Dave's looking for that cigarette, the bottle, and all that kind of. And there's just kind of this melodic, more of a slinkier kind of feel. You get a nice kind of charged up solo, but this song is a lot more laid back. Good song, but compared to the rest of the album, well, so This Is Love. That's going to be my next favorite, my next least favorite, I guess you could say. Again, a feel good rocker, kind of with a swing feel. Um, like I said, as a kid, push comes to shove in this one were sometimes ones I would skip over. I don't know why. So This Is Love was also released as the first single in the U.S. Did not make the top 100. Got close, got to 110. But number seven, and I know this one might be a shock to some people, Center Swing, the third track. Again, very fiery, upbeat song. Really pedal to the metal kind of a song. But here again, when this is another album, it's hard to rank. It's just such a good album. Um, six and five for me, it kind of can interchange. That's going to be the instrumental Sunday Afternoon at the Park and One Foot Out the Door. Um, It's got that nasty, Sunday Afternoon in the Park has this just downright dirty, grimy, nasty monster of a synthesizer riff with Alex Van Halen just pounding on the drums. If you do not just want to start air drumming to that, you don't have any arms. That's all I can say. One Foot Out the Door, very quick song, gets in, gets out. Again, kind of a synthesizer driven song till he gets to the solo, and Eddie just rips it out and fades out. Again, always love those two tracks. Number four is going to be the second track on the album, Dirty Movies. Again, just a sleazy, grimy riff. Slide guitar parts. You get this great lyric from Dave talking about the girl next door, and all of a sudden she's on the silver screen, and whoa, they didn't. This small town America didn't expect that coming, but man, there's just so many good riffs in this song. Man, Eddie was just on fire with this song. Love this song. Three is this was also released as a single. It would be the second release track only in the Europe and other countries. Side two's opener, Unchained. You get that classic riff, the detuned riff with the different chord variation things going on there. Come on, Dave, give me a break. One break coming up. Love that. Love that song. Awesome track. Staple. Um, Number two is actually going to be side one's closer. Hear about it later. Again, a little bit of a melodic feel in the chords, but man, the flanger, the chorus that Eddie's using here is just interwoven so nicely. So many wonderful guitar parts. Love Dave's vocal on this song. My favorite track always has been the first time I heard Van Halen, and that's when I dropped that needle. I can't even do that thing with my voice here, but Meat Street, come on, come on. Best song on the album, fiery track. When I was like, what, 11, 12 years old, and that's what I first hear from Van Halen. Oh my gosh, what a life-changing moment that was. I just never thought a guitar could sound something like that. It was just amazing what Eddie was doing with this with a guitar. So, and again, somebody said, "Fair warning, Lord, strike that poor boy down." Man, this is a song I love to play in the car. I love to sing along with it. Absolutely, probably my favorite Van Halen track of all. And that's, and I've listened through the catalog, but this album, fair warning, this is always going to be my favorite. One's awesome. Women and Children is awesome. 1984 is awesome. But man, this will always be my favorite. And of course, I want to make note about the cover here by William Kurlek called The Maze. You get this odd stuff on the back. You get all kinds of crazy things happening here. So, but just an absolute banger of an album. Only about 30 minutes long, so it's a very short album. But all the tracks written by the band, which was, that would be a departure on their next album, but it was Diver Down, still not a bad album, but again, nothing compares to Fair Warning. So let me know what you guys think about Fair Warning, and I'll come back at you next week when it's going to be brought to you by the letter W. So John Clauser, Johnny Metal, the Maldads saying, come on, Dave, give me a break. Take care.